Good morning, everyone. This is Leonardo the Biasi, and here with me,
I'm Dave Collins with OneStream.
and we are here in downtown Chicago in a cloudy day in October 2021. We are lucky to be in the same place. This is the Nimble office, and we are, other than enjoying the view from here, today talking about intelligent finance and what is the new concept of this as Nimble and OneStream intended. So very briefly about myself, I'm in charge of our data intelligence team here at Nimble in North America. That includes analytics, advanced analytics, and CPM. So corporate performance management that includes financial consolidation, planning, forecasting, and so on. I'm with the company since 2008 when I started back in Italy, and I came here in the United States in Chicago in 2014, where I started the practice. I had the pleasure to meet Dave already some time ago. Dave?
I'm Dave Collins, Director of Solutions Consulting for the Global Alliances team, which means that I work with great partners like Nimble and Microsoft.
Today we are going to talk about a few topics that we consider very important. Leader speed is one of the new things that the CFO should consider when embracing a new journey in the digital transformation or just thinking about the new role. And to do this, we are going to talk about the different components, the different factors that are in some way impacting this. One, for sure, very important, is the platform. The platform can enable this, and for this reason, we're going to talk about OneStream and the link with the Microsoft Azure that will give that the capability to scale in a way that the speed that we are talking about for the CFO will be enabled. Just very quickly before we get started and talk about topic. Today, Nimble is a company that was born in 2004 back in Italy, in Europe, and with an expansion that organically brought us to be 2,200 people around the globe in this moment, was able to have us at 243 million revenues globally with, let me call it, three souls. The first one is the one that we started, system integration. We are an SAP core system integrator. So we started with that, and then we enlarged our portfolio, in particular with the CPM part, the part of financial consolidation and planning and forecasting, when we added all the platforms that are in the market. Still a couple of years ago with the OneStream. Also, we have a digital advisory business unit and a software atelier that actually create specific products for this. We are not the industry focus, but we are pretty large and wide in what we do, and our focus though is the premium quality of our service and the 100% customer satisfaction. This is one thing that links us to OneStream in a great way. So, as technology partners, as we mentioned, we started with SAP, and we then enlarged our partnership with the other hyperscalers. In particular, we work a lot with Microsoft, where we are one of the partners that are managing the cloud platform or just other specific applications like OneStream that runs on top of Microsoft Azure. We work a lot with universities and research firms and research departments in order to create something new every time. And this is why today we are here talking about kind of different concepts of the speed that the CFO should have today in order to not only control, but also run a company. And this is something very actual. In terms of, we've seen what COVID created to everybody. We were doing forecasts every month, sometimes every quarter. And then COVID hit everybody, and we moved to a weekly, actually a daily basis forecast, focusing, for example, a service company like us on reviewing the utilization day by day. in order to be sure that the people were happy and could stay with us. During COVID, we had a lot of projects stopped in terms of a day. And so we have to be able, working with the CFO, working with all the different functions of the company, not only react, but proactively going there. COVID changed it, changed the role of the CFO, that for us is not anymore 5,000, but must be focused on having the 360 view of the company in order to control costs, yes, but also find opportunities. For this reason, we really think that the CFO from number crunching should move to a completely different action within the company. This is a Gartner research. The CFO are focusing based on their answers in advanced data analytics more, but they also recognize that that is going to take time to get there. Why? Because at the end, today, technology, hyperscalers, platforms are able to bring us the big data easily. But what are the right data? Right. The focus will be the right data. So the right platform, the right application will help the CFO to go and focus on the right data in this big lake of information that is out there. For this reason, more and more we see the CFO that has to focus and shift during one single day from sales to cost, for staff planning to billing issues, to understanding the strategy of new markets, or just be more conservative in some units and some other markets. So it's a lot.
Right.
And to do this, the first thing that the CFO needs are the right data. Why? Because data must be normalized and put in a way that they can become information. That means something that I can use in order to create insight, and with this insight, then have actionable items that the CFO and then the whole organization can use to take strategic decisions. This for us is something that needs a pretty big shift. The shift before before was recognized like a siloed kind of approach, what we call it fragmented finance. Every single department had its own tool, its own application, its own set of data. You cannot do that anymore. You need to have all the things all together right there, linked together. So don't spend time in master data management or just understanding of why my net profit is not tying with the revenues in the other side, or net income on the other P&L. So one single view of the company for the CFO, in order to do what? To maximize the inventory, not having excess, but also be sure that you have something that I can sell. We know what is happening right now with all the supply chain issues.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of companies would like to sell more, but they don't have nothing to sell because they didn't think about that before. And that brings to loss of sales and revenue. We can bring loss of profit. So less profitability and less productivity. This is where the actual CFO should focus at this moment. So at the end, each one of the CFO is trying to digitalize and make things running seamlessly, smoother, and faster. And to do this, there is an approach that Gartner recognized in this immediate actions and then midterm actions in order to have a sort of cycle to reprioritize the different tasks that are coming every day. For sure, reduce costs, because this is what we have done during COVID in order to prevent loss of people. Right. And then arrive to a possibility to reimagine completely the business model that each company can have. It's a big opportunity. Every company could change now.
Yeah.
So how to do that? Most of the CFOs answered that in order to arrive and focus on more decision-driven, they need data points. They need the right data point. So they want to focus on developing forecasts that are not anymore the actual plus my plan for the next month, but actually something that is rolling. To not stop and say, this is my picture today, see you next month.
Right.
No, it's a rolling kind of activity. Indeed, you can see there a lot of what if, a lot of simulation, a lot of new forecast scenario, and understanding the different factors that are coming from outside world, how they impact our company. So this is where we want to focus. And we want to focus in one of the concepts that has been created by Gartner actually a few years ago, and it's called XP&A.
Right.
So the extended planning and analytics, in order to create a more collaborative internal reporting. The CFO that is able to work with the department, with practice, with all the other functions in order to have a team that is agile enough to have all the information on their fingertips. So the concept that we are seeing, we are suggesting to our clients is exactly this. Reorganize team in order to be ready for XP&A. What is XP&A in reality, Dave?
From my perspective, it really is more about establishing a platform, a framework that enables all the things that you've just spoken about. More times than not, folks within the business side of the organization are using Microsoft Office tools and trying to hunt and peck and gather information from myriad sources. The idea would be to have an ability to pull those sources together directly, dynamically, and leverage them so that I can do some form of integrated business planning or connected planning. The idea behind XP&A per Gartner is to establish that framework, to establish the platform that enables all of those things that we know must be done. And as Leo, I think, said very well, the pandemic situation forced us into a speedier approach to getting there. We got fairly lazy about the way we were doing planning, the way we were doing analytics. We were allowing for bad habits to grow and fester. And now we've been forced into a situation where we're starting to leverage technology better than we were before.
This is what we think that each company should start doing to arrive to this XP&A. Not only focus on what historically the CFO was more keen about, P&L, balance sheet, cash flow, but also having the part coming from the S&OP, right? All the supply chain, the cost from marketing, the very fast changing cost of a workforce, because we know how the turnover of people is impacting company right now. We have in some ways shortage of people to work. In particular, in the service companies like us, we are looking for people.
Absolutely.
That is a big impact on finding new talent and also retaining talent. This is a task that the CFO should be aware of, who should be able to bring up, and cannot be done using Excel.
No.
Cannot be done just putting together different models from different tools or different applications. Why? Because today we are lucky. We have artificial intelligence, we have machine learning, we have platforms like the Microsoft Azure that are underlining, giving us something that we should not recreate or code. We can just use.
Absolutely.
And this is why we really think that today all these little things that are coming together, from how to have the data traceable, monitored, auditable most of the time, optimized with the automation that is out there, ingested in order to move from the big data to the right data, right? And then arrive to what we call next generation of operations, when you focus on the insights and action instead of the data collection and putting together the data. This is where we want to go. And this is actually how Nimble is creating a value proposition for the CFO that focus on a digital vision, using the right CPM, corporate performance management tools platform, in order to enable advanced analytics and automation. The data are there. We need to use it, but we need to use it in the right way. And this is why we think that in order to realize the finance digital transformation, you really need to have the right platform, the right application that will enable the CFO to do so. This is why we are working together with OneStream.
Absolutely. So the next thing that we're going to do is a bit of an overview demonstration.
Okay, so what I want to do is provide a bit of an overview of OneStream as a company and the value proposition around the platform, and show you how it aligns with the messages around XP&A. First and foremost, performance management, whether it's corporate or business or enterprise, has been around for quite some time. I started my performance management career with Hyperion. We were bought by Oracle. I then went into consulting for 10 years before joining OneStream almost 18 months ago. The idea behind performance management was to connect a series of disconnected applications. You had those for consolidation. You had those for planning, budgeting, forecasting, typical FP&A sorts of activities, which play very nicely into the notion around XP&A. And then you had those that tied all of this together by way of reporting, be it statutory or management or profitability reporting. We would often dimensionalize the data so we can do better analytics, looking at dimensions such as channel or product or customer or scenario. And ultimately, we were trying to get the information in the hands of the users to make decisions or support the folks that are making decisions. The disconnects had to be connected. We had to synchronize the metadata, such as the account structures, the product structures. We had to integrate the data, not just from the source systems like SAP and Oracle NetSuite and many others, into either consolidation or planning, but we had to integrate the data amongst all of the disconnected applications. There's a thought that the cloud becomes the solution for that, and in some cases it can be, unless it's a series of separate disconnected clouds, in which case you're back to where you started again. We need to connect the disconnected applications. And as we've talked about with XP&A, the idea is to have a platform that enables all of the functions within performance management. We're simply calling it XP&A now. So OneStream's approach to this, our thoughts behind it, really are about providing value to the customer, and you do so by maturing your performance management solutions. Closing consolidation is relatively basic, relatively rudimentary. Sure, you're going to have nuance by industry, by locale, but generally speaking, there is an approach that has been followed forever. When it comes to planning and forecasting and budgeting, getting into financial planning versus a rolling forecast versus integrated business planning, there are several different opinions, approaches with regard to this, and it really boils down to what type of organization you are, what industry you're in, and so forth. So there's a lot of differences, a lot of nuance. For performance reporting, our belief is that it should support decisions. And ages and ages ago, when I started my career, we often called these systems decision support systems, and I think that term is starting to come back. The idea is not to just give a report to somebody. It's to provide an analytic layer, a curated set of data that allows the user to have a conversation with it, to get questions answered. Our belief is that we're moving very quickly, and our platform supports something we refer to as financial signaling. It allows us to get into both the financial and the operational data together. Performance management typically has been about end of period, such as end of month, end of quarter, end of year. And the challenge with that is that you don't see what's happening in between. All of that lies in the operational data. So we believe you should have that all together. Our approach has provided much success both for our customers and, to be honest, to us, and that's gratifying. But we still focus on customer success. In fact, the metric that we adhere to is 100% customer success. And we now have over 850 customers using the platform, enjoying the platform, providing them with information that they didn't really have before. I've got a list of them up on screen. We can make these slides available to you. I think the underlying idea here is that we're helping to improve. Monthly close shortened, consolidations reduced, revenue and expense plan updates reduced, tax provision process, including reconciliation. So all of the facets of performance management are now XP&A, which is a platform that supports performance management. All of those things are better, they're stronger, they're faster. They allow for much more efficiency, a much greater total cost of ownership. Our approach is platform-based. We provide everything within a single application, enabling multiple solutions. It's based in Microsoft Azure. Microsoft has been a great partner to us, as has Nimble. Our platform will provide an integrated approach, a foundational approach to the master data or metadata, meaning the dimensional aspects, financial data quality, workflow. That then enables application areas around financial consolidation on a global basis, all of the reporting associated with it, a great extensible solution around planning, budgeting, forecasting, not just at the corporate or summary level, but all the way down to the operational level. Tremendous flexible reporting so you can have that conversation with the data, so you can get the answers to the questions that you have, so that you can delve all the way down into the operational or transaction levels of detail. We've built financial intelligence into the solution so that you don't have to rely upon thousands potentially of business rules to do what you need the system to do. We provide an automated approach to everything you see on screen here. We provide solutions in a marketplace that you can download, configure, and deploy for free, often with the assistance of a partner, depending on what it is you're deploying. Something like guided reporting, very simple, very much a plug and play. Task management, the same. Now, the tasks that are associated with a function, you may rely upon a partner to help you with creating that process. I'll show you some examples in a few minutes. For financial close and reporting, account reconciliations, transaction matching, download, configure, deploy those for free instead of buying a solution from a third party like a Blackline or a Trintech. None of these solutions are sold. They're part of the license with OneStream. When it comes to planning and analysis, plugging in people planning and capital planning and cash planning, predictive analytics, all of those things are very important to a platform and to XP&A. And last but not least, providing the ability to visualize, to analyze, to report on all of this great information. And I think that first bullet point is an important one to call out. Full auditability and transparency between financial and operational data. We're tracking absolutely every facet, every aspect of what's going on. So let's talk a bit about the solutions that we provide for XP&A. And really, we see this as an evolution of CPM to XP&A. Now, we provide intelligent XP&A, that intelligent finance, unifying that along with operational data through the extensibility of the platform, through the blending of data, through the data quality engine that allows us to ensure that we're bringing data into the system correctly. Our purpose-built solutions in the marketplace, our flexible reporting and analysis approach, leveraging that great solution, that great platform that Microsoft provides with Azure. We've always been very good at planning. In fact, if you look at Gartner Peer Insight Customer Choice, that's a process that Gartner uses to capture information from our users. In a most recent capture, if you will, from this process, our planning or the FP&A functions were deemed best solution in the cloud. Our customers rated us at 4.86 out of 5, and 98% said they would recommend us over all others. You can do comparisons in this process. We provide solutions by way of the platform to tackle sales planning, marketing planning, operations planning, services planning, workforce planning, and many others. the idea behind planning, again, is nuanced. The organization, the industry, your place or position within the market, all of those demands will drive how you approach planning. And a platform-based approach rather than an application-based approach where you have to concede to what the application is asking you to do, we feel that the platform enables a much better set of solutions. Now let's have a look at OneStream. I'm going to start with a view that the Chief Executive Officer might have with a series of KPIs and charts on a dashboard. This is my executive overview. I can see items like sales per employee, operating margin, return on asset percentage. I can see my EBITDA, and if I click on any of these items, it's going to give me further detail. Now, in this example, in this demonstration, I'm looking at a selected region within a company called Gulfstream called Houston, and beneath Houston, I have Houston Heights and South Houston. I can always drill to further levels of detail. I can always see explanations around what is going on rather than have to guess myself. I can always gain access to additional information. For example, if I wanted to look at my return on asset or any of my KPIs in more detail, I can actually drill down on them directly and get to a very deep level of detail. Now in this dashboard, and this is out of the box, this allows me to drill down, in this case, on my account structure. I might want to look at how that return on assets is derived. It's a simple calculation of net income divided by total asset. And I might want to drill down on this data and keep going until I get down to the bottom. So I've got gross income, then down to net sales. And for my manufacturing group, which is Houston, I can go below my operating sales. Corporate, on the other hand, just goes down to operating sales. Now, this is the bottom of my structure from an account perspective, but I loaded data from an operational or transaction level of detail far below that. So I'm going to go ahead and right-click and ask for that data. And I'm greeted with pages and pages and pages of the transactions that are there, which I can take advantage of to do an account reconciliations or a transaction matching exercise. Incredibly important for record to report as part of financial close and consolidation. I can leverage this data to do analytics or to do a data science exercise and determine what my forecast might look like. The point is that I have this data available to me. So let's go back to my landing page and spend a bit of time on planning. I'll start with strategic planning. So imagine I'm at a summary level where I'm driving based upon these factors, these levers, my cash flow model down below, from total revenue all the way down to my free cash flow over the course of multiple years. This is my strategic plan. This is where everything begins from an executive level. I have various scenarios I can look at. I can leverage predictive analytics, which will leverage historical data to create a forecast, or in this case, my strat plan for me. I'm actually doing it for Houston Heights versus South Houston versus Houston. And I have a series of tools available to me to execute. So first and foremost, let me go ahead and look at this plan, the strategic plan by month. And I see that I'm currently at nearly 184 million in revenue. I think that's a bit high given current market conditions. So I'm going to go ahead and change that. It's now going to be 182 million, and watch what happens to the monthly data. It changes. And when I go ahead and save that view of the data and calculate the new strategic plan, it's going to change that overall number and then all of the other subsequent numbers in my cash flow model. Let's have a look. There's the new number. There's the variance versus my baseline, which was established as another scenario. And that's okay. This is my new final approach to my strat plan. And I'm going to go ahead and push this down to line it up with my budget process. Simple click of the mouse, it's now going to take these numbers and apportion them or allocate them by customer, by product, by region. I'm now going to go ahead and become the controller. So taking off the CEO hat, I'm going to become the controller. I'm greeted with the task manager, and the task manager allows me to look at the things that I need to get done in several different ways. First off, I'm looking at all of my groups of functions. I have actuals and budget and so forth. I'm going to focus in on the budget in this particular case. We're in the second cycle of the budget process. I haven't really done anything as yet. So I'm going to go ahead and have a look at entering in my plan drivers. And I have some instructions. Your partner can work with you on best practices around the approach, creating instructional videos or instructional text. I'm going to go ahead and execute on the plan process. It takes me directly to a dashboard that allows me to enter in my drivers. But before we do that, let's have a review of where we're at. So when I click on the review, there's the 182 million that my strat plan now reflects. We just changed that when we were pretending to be the CEO. I can see that my revenue figure for the budget V2 is currently underperforming what that strat plan is. So I need to make some changes there. My drivers, by and large, are going to influence my expenses like people planning, travel planning, capital planning. All of these are configured to meet the needs of you and your organization. I should point out on the left-hand side, this is our workflow engine at play. We've actually mimicked the workflow in some buttons on our dashboard. We can make this look like whatever you wish. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the workflow for the minute. I'm going to focus initially on my revenue plan to line up or to improve on the 180 million. When I click on revenue plan, it takes me to a new form that allows me to do that plan by customer, by products, by scenario, by entity, by period. And if I drill down on the entity structure, or the region rather, I can see where I'm at in detail. Now, at the minute, I'm underperforming. So I know that number needs to go up. Let me show you what's possible here. I might want to increase by 3,000. Or I may want to change the overall budget B2 to 100,000. Now I can make changes by way of an adjustment or directly to the budget itself. And when I save that, it's going to either update the adjusted figure or create an adjustment, but it's going to maintain, for transparency purposes, the original version of that budget V2 so I can see the detail through the process. I think that's an important consideration. Certainly necessary for financial close and record the report, but in the engine, we made the decision to make that available for everything that you do, from operational analytics through planning, budgeting, forecasting, and yes, of course, in record the report. Now, this could be a little bit time consuming, and in the interest of time for this webcast, I'm going to make some wholesale changes very quickly. I have this top-down tool that allows me to set a new figure. Rather than 2.9 million, I'm going to set that new figure to, let's say, 6 million. And when I click update, it is going to look at the existing curve valid for budget V2 and create a series of adjustments to meet that new figure, which is now 6 million. So if I click on my regions, I'll actually now see each of the adjustments and each of the adjusted figures. And if I click on my review, I see that I'm actually up and over what that original target was. So I'm good. I'm done. I'm finished with my plan process. To be honest, it was a little bit of a cheat because I'm changing it for a single entity, a single product in a single time period. But hopefully you get the idea. I could go in and look at various cuts of this data, slices of this data, and make necessary changes at a top line level and allow it to trickle through, leveraging the data already in place and using that proportionality. So that's my plan. Let me go ahead and have a look at people planning. Now, this is the expense side of the equation. And my people plan, my travel plan, my capital plan, my expense plan, each of these are solutions coming from our marketplace of solutions, which you download, configure, deploy for free. The solution itself is based in the platform. We create them, we actually provide them on a quarterly release schedule, and your partner will work with you to configure them properly for your needs. In this particular case, in this example, Gulfstream required employee level detail with a series of properties or attributes, and I'm pulling this information directly from a Workday, from a PeopleSoft, or some other trusted source, or I'm creating the employees that will be part of my company, say in the next year or so, by simply clicking on the plus sign and filling in the blank. I'm going to use this information, like what grade level they are, what corporate entity they come from, or departments. I'm going to use this in conjunction with my drivers, which I'll show you in a moment, to generate lots and lots of plan data by employee, by period, which then will provide us with out-of-the-box analytics and reporting so I can see where I'm at from a fully burdened compensation perspective. So with this construct, with this idea in mind, a simple 1, 2, 3 approach, let's go have a look at the drivers that we've configured for this particular example. Now, right now I'm looking at capital planning. Let me go to my people drivers. I've got, and this is fully configured to your needs. In this example, we're showing taxes with FICA. We're showing 401k matching and limit. We're showing health insurance, disability insurance, and workers' comp insurance. I'm also showing my people planning drivers setting the salary by midpoint by grade. We saw grades on people planning a moment ago. What I may want to do is start to make some changes. For example, the Southwest needs an increase, and we're going to do so by right-clicking, choosing spreading, and we're going to increase by a factor of, let's say, 10%. So I'll multiply by 1.1. It increases each of those values by 10%. I'll save that. And then to be fair, let's change all of grade 5 by using spreading. And in this case, rather than use factor, let's fill in a new value of 275,000 to match the change that popped in for Southwest. I'll save that. And then for California, let's make some changes, maybe increase that to 280. Or upon further review, better yet, let's make it 290. Now, I made these changes on purpose. If I right-click, much like I did as the executive, and I drill down, I can now drill down not on the account, that's the lowest level that I'm capturing, but on a unique dimension within the OneStream platform, and that is origin. It allows me to look at the before and after adjustments. That number, when we started, was 250,000. We've increased it by 40,000, and if I right-click and ask for the audit history for each of the value changes in that form, I get it. Full transparency, full auditability, not just for record to report, but for the entire planning process. So let's go back to our dashboard. Again, I can do people planning. I have drivers associated with that. I can do travel planning. Again, fully configurable into the type of planning that you wish to do for your organization. In this case, we're showing domestic airfare, international airfare, hotel costs, and so forth. And from a balance sheet planning perspective, my useful life assumptions, my maintenance costs, my insurance costs, all with regard to my capital expenditures. So with this thought process in mind, we are providing by way of the platform absolutely everything that is of import to the planning process by way of a platform that aligns with Gartner's view on XP&A. Again, we've done planning since our inception back in 2009. We have great ratings with regard to that, and we're going to continue to provide what our customers need. With that said, let's go ahead and close this out. Let's bring Leo back into the discussion.
Thank you very much, Leo. We started back in 2008 working on different platform and solutions. One thing was not even there in that moment. So we started working with SAP, with Oracle, with other tools that are there. And we are pretty familiar with implementing all these things, but never all together, like you demonstrated. Right. That was pretty interesting. For us, a company that has more than 400 people focused globally into analytics and performance management, we discovered, let me call it like this, OneStream, and we are working together in a different way compared to what we did in the past, because we recognize that the platform really enables the CFO to do something different. Mm-hmm. So we have a pretty big team, a lot of clients worldwide with delivery center in Europe, North America, and Latin America. But the real, let me call it the wedding with OneStream started back in 2013 where I was myself implementing a PBPC solution in a client that was Federal Mobile in Detroit, where OneStream was born. And OneStream was implementing the first solution there. So
as a very first customer.
The very first customer, and we were side by side and was looking at this new tool, never heard about that. And I was curious about that. So I kept following the evolution of the platform since the inception till the moment that called by our client that recognized in Nimble not only the SAP expertise where we are coming from, so we are the SAP experts, the trusted advisor on this area, and the trusted advisor of what is the EPM solution. So they asked us, okay, we have the need of having account reconciliation, planning, financial consolidation, and reporting together, what we should do. And this was a discussion with the CFO and the CIO. So you need to talk both languages, right? And this is why and where Nimble makes the difference, because can talk about both of them, can talk about the different languages, and can integrate in an incredible way OneStream and Microsoft Azure with other components. For example, we are working with you on a Power BI connector. We are working on HANA integration with OneStream. That actually is exactly what we did with this Fortune 200 company here in the United States, where they asked us, guys, where we should go. Upgrade, change, what should be the right situation, the right platform for us in order to do what? Minimize financial close time. In that moment, for many reasons, their current solution was taking more than 3 hours to load the data. It was taking more than 6 hours, sometimes more than a day, to have the full financial consolidation ready for the CFO. The mix of the OneStream power plus our ability to integrate it with SAP brought it down to integrate everything and have the full loading time in less than 6 months.
And I think the key distinction is when you're integrating with SAP, we're talking about the transaction system, so the ERP solution behind the scenes, where I am transacting business, I'm managing all of that detail, and I'm putting OneStream as the performance management solution on top of that.
And that is exactly what we did in order to load and be able to analyze 80 million rows in less than something 6 to 9 minutes from the SAP transactional system into the OneStream, and then consolidate all of them. And there was not enough. One single load was able to give them the possibility to do financial consolidation and account reconciliation and managerial reporting. This is key because you don't need to have different flows, different things that are going to different models of your same platform. You do it once, you do it in a holistic way, thinking about what you want to reach, and then with that one flow of data, you have everything there for the CFO. This is where we really think that the speed arrives in the hands of the CFO office and in the hands of the C-level in order to provide something that is quick and ready to be used. I think that we covered a lot during this webcast, starting from the new role of the CFO that I strongly believe should become the chief revenue officer for the company, the one that is able to find a new opportunity. And then to do that needs processes, digital vision, platform, application, and be nimble. So this is how we, Dave, we are thinking that the mix of nimble OneStream can bring this to CFO.
Yeah, I think the three keys are the Azure platform for all of the data that you require. Microsoft has done a great job with that. We've leveraged that. Nimble has leveraged that as well. I think it's a better together situation where the three of us working together in concert with the organizations that we serve are providing great results.
Thank you very much for this time spent together to come to our office today.
Happy to.
Thank you.
Take care.